Now we're going to shift over to diving. It's swimming and diving, okay? How many of you have ever, who's new to this whole being a CHSAA judge, never judged diving before or anything like that? Okay.
Yeah, right.
All the rest of you, I got to get rid of your preconceptions. Today's purpose is all about education. I'm here to answer questions, I'm here to clarify things, I'm here to give you a different perspective. As I just said, we are very passionate about it. We do a lot of work in the kids training, really hard, at risk of life and limb to become divers. We're an entirely different sport. We have 5 different groups in which we have to perform. Swimming, you have a stopwatch, right? The stopwatch is the same, or the electronic timing system is the same whether you're down in Pueblo or up in Fort Collins or in Grand Junction or in Denver. All that I want to achieve, and all diving coaches want to achieve, is that we're consistent, okay? That stopwatch is the same. We want it to be as consistent whether you're diving at state, coaches in flight, or a dual, okay? So I'm going to try and give you a couple of cues, for lack of a better term, that you can be more consistent in your judging of diving, all right? By definition, you're always going to have a diving board approximately your height. So you can use that in helping you evaluate dive. You're going to have handrails. So you're going to be able to judge whether or not the kids are going high. And you can do it on a consistent basis. There's nothing worse than seeing somebody go off the board, do a really low dive, but because they've got a big game, they're getting a high score. Guess what? Swimmers have bad days too. Sometimes they even false start and they get DQs. It doesn't matter what their name is. It's all about judging the dive skill. Also understand, it's irrelevant what the degree of difficulty is. Who's familiar with the degree of difficulty? Okay, that's a good thing. Some hands went up. But there's nothing more infuriating than seeing being at the state meeting where you have a kid going up there and he's doing 404C, inward double top, inward double top. Goes off, does the dive probably below the rail, lands essentially in a cannonball, and gets 7. And you're looking at it like, what? How is that a thing? The dive was horrible. It should have gotten a 2. But all of a sudden, oh, it's a big dive. It's 2.8 degree of difficulty. Guess what? The degree of difficulty takes care of that. All right? So if you give the scores, you have 3 judges or 5 judges drop a high and a low, and you give it all 5s. Then you multiply it by the degree of difficulty. Okay? If it's a good 2.8 dive, give it the score. But if it's a bad 2.8 degree of difficulty, give it the score. Because just like with the stopwatch, diving coaches use your score to teach the kids. When the diver comes up and they say, wow, we got 2 on that dive coach. Why? Well, it's horrible. All right? But then we can say, here's what you did wrong, and here's how we can get better. Okay? So when we have kids come out of the pool and say, Coach, I got 2.5 on that dive, but I also got 7.5 on that dive. And they're going, what's the deal? That's where we get that inconsistency and we get the confusion for the divers, okay? And that's when you might run into what we defined earlier as a passionate coach. What did you guys see? Okay? So, again, like I said today, we're here to educate you, try and, establish some consistency. One of the definitions of our sport is that it is in fact subjective. Okay? Am I going to tell you exactly how to dive? Am I going to change your perspective to make it the same as his perspective, make it the same as her perspective? No. But you should be able to see a dive for what it's worth. I will talk to the parents after a diving session, and they'll say, and that's how they came to their school. But let me ask you this simple question. If the kid goes up there, supposed to do an inward dive hike, all right? Goes up there, does the inward dive hike, it's a 7.5 dive, but you notice the crow hop, all right? So the gestalt of the dive is such that it was a good dive, but I didn't like the crow hop, so I'm only going to give it 5. Okay? Well, if you do this and you have the gestalt of the dive, you're like, okay, that was a pretty good dive. I didn't like the crow hop, so I'm going to give it a 5. And now in the rule book, it says I can take anywhere from 1/2 to 2 points off of that. So then from 5, you're going down to anywhere from 4.5 to 3. Is it fair to the kid to penalize them twice? I would argue emphatically that no, you can't do that. So you have to determine, are you going to stick with the gestalt of the dive, or are you going to indicate, oh, I saw a crow hop, and therefore now I'm allowed to take off the board. That's where we run into these inconsistencies. I would prefer that everybody judge the gestalt of the dive, the entire thing, the overall thing. But that being said, also, in diving, not only do we have all the different strokes that we're throwing at you, essentially, different dives that we have to train differently. Like, you have to see the imperfections and take that into consideration before you throw a tool. But you also have to say, wow, that was a satisfactory dive, but it was done way up here, the kid lined up and ripped the sun out of the end. Okay? Then you have to say, you know what? That was a really good dive. And they also have changed the rule called sport. So no longer is a 10 perfection. Because I would have argued when it was in fact still, a 10 was a perfect dive. There is no such thing as a perfect dive. It can always be a little bit higher. It could have been, this or that. But when you see a dive, and it appears and you go, that was a good dive. All right, that was a good dive. Go 5.5. I'll just walk up to you and say, what do you think of that dive? That was a good dive. 5.5. Well, by definition, a good dive starts at 7. Okay? And then you can remember that in the consistency framework. Okay, that was a good dive. That was pleasing. That was a good dive. It wasn't perfect. Well, that was a really good dive. Then you give it 8.5, 9.5. But you got to make sure that you as an individual have a consistent way of looking at dives. All right? And it shouldn't be all that different from you to you to you, okay? It should be relatively close, okay? Now, I've had divers, you'll see all the things inside of the dives, all right? But you'll see a diver, and girls especially, when they have big thighs and big calves. And they'll go up there and could be locked out like that. But somebody will say, oh, that's a trick. 4.5 max. I mean, I went to the state meet both boy and girl last year, and I saw that it didn't matter what, if there was a tight dive done, there was always a 4.5 score for it. All right? And it's like, sometimes those girls just have big thighs and big calves. They're locked out trying to win. Okay? So don't get caught up in, oh, I saw an imperfection. You're not getting rewarded for seeing an imperfection. You're getting rewarded for making a consistent evaluation of the dive. Does that make sense? All right? Is that forward? Okay? So, those are the, that's a lesson in perspective. Okay? All right.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Everybody, please give it up to Jeff for coming out to hang out with us today. And we'd also like to thank our divers before they get started. We want to make them really nervous right now so that they really make mistakes that we can, I'm just kidding. We appreciate you guys for coming to help us out today. All right. Some other things. Twisting dives. How many people have a really hard time when we're judging twisting dives? What, like, being the most difficult dive for you to have to judge? Is that kind of, yeah, you all just, it's just coaching for you guys. Yeah, I mean, twisting dives are dives that I'm noticing a lot that we score lower on. And it doesn't matter whether they are good or not. I've seen some really good dives and I'm seeing scores that are thrown that I go, why did you throw such a low score? Because that was a really nice twisting dive. So I'm hoping that we're gonna be able to get some twisting dives off of these wonderful divers for us today to kind of look at that. And I'm hoping that they're able to do some that are really good and some that aren't so good. But that's one of my things that I'm kind of thinking about is don't be afraid to score a twisting dive appropriately as to any other dive that we would be doing that's just, you know, they're not spinning in the air other than going a somersault, okay? During pike dives, right? What are we watching? We're watching knees, right? For that break or the change in position. Julie, thank you. And then during straight dives, where are we watching mostly? At the waist and the knees, right? So if they're coming into the water kind of like this, I'm gonna make that as, there's a change of position there, okay? Hands over the head. I did see this a lot this last season, that we were missing that call. It's almost like we had a year off, so we're forgetting that hands over the head are no more than 4, right? 4.5, I apologize. So just things to kind of think about as our new season starts. Yes. Oh, it was the hands over the head? Hands over the head going. Yeah, so they're coming in and they're, you know, feet first and they're coming in with hands up. A lot of people were missing that this year and I was kind of like, I didn't know why that was happening.
No more than
4.5. Yep. Yep. I think that's one thing that Jeff and the coaches, you may, you know, disagree, but I do think that if we're not seeing a really great dive, then yeah, we're going to score it accordingly. But if they're also doing the crow hop, but it was, you know, a decent dive, yeah, we still have that 1.5 to 2 that we should be deducting for. We can't reward them for that either, I don't think. So, there's something you had?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just kind of to touch back on the breaks and the change of positions.
Okay.
If you're the meet ref, you gotta call it. And if you're not, still show your score. If you see those hips pop on a straight dive, that's a change of position. If it's just a little bit, break, no more than 4.5. But if those hips pop out on that straight dive, call no more than 2. If your referee misses it, flash that score. You call it how you see it. Same thing with pikes. If it's just a little bit of a baby break on those knees, that's one thing. But if those knees are coming up so that it turns into more of a tuck than a pike, you gotta call it. Because the biggest thing coaches can ask and do ask of us, and same with the swimmers, is that we're consistent. And it's not fair to call it on one swimmer, but then, or one diver, but then the other diver's like, I didn't see that one, it's fine. And it just changes the outcome. Just like how Jeff said, we want the scoreboard to reflect our scoring.
Sorry, you just said something about a curl hop. If the dive was like a 7, but they curl hop, are you?
We're doing the 1/2 to 2. It depends on that. So it depends on the severity of that. It really depends on the severity of that crow hop. If it's really, I mean, if they're just coming off the board a little bit, most of us, do you agree we're going to do a 1/2, right? If it's a big crow hop and they're coming almost, and I've seen this, they're coming almost a foot off the board, oh, I'm taking the 2. But you're right, I would say it was a 7, but I have to take 2 for that crow hop. Yeah, because that's a safety thing. That's the big thing for us with that is that's a safety issue for those divers to make sure that they're not gonna slide off that board, because I've seen that happen too and get injured.
So my question on a twist dive is 511C.
Yes.
I have not seen that dive
No.
done, and it's for beginner divers to do it, so I'm not quite sure how to even judge that dive.
Can we hear the question again?
So he says 511C, and I don't think I've ever seen them do anything but a straight position with most of that, but yeah, you can.
All right.
Yeah.
5111 is generally done straight, 5111A.
Yeah.
If they do 5111B or 5111C, they have to go up and do the tuck or the pipe before they do the twist. If they do it afterwards, it's in parentheses or a dot.
Yeah.
Okay? And then I also want to touch base on this, the curl hop situation. I'm still going to push for the
I got you.
install of the dive, but that being said, she said it depends on the severity of the curl hop. If it is, she keep said, a foot high, but I mean, anything bigger than that, that's a double bounce. That's a double bounce, that's a failed dive.
I can see that.
All right.
can see that.
and yes, you're going to have situations where the kids move their feet around or come off the board about this much, but you're taking away from that from the parents. But if they truly do a double bounce, that's a failed dive. Not only is it not to be coached like that ever, but it is dangerous as hell.
Yeah. That's what our deal was. Are your kiddos ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're going to start doing some dive. What, Trisha?
Will you show that, because on a straight anything, we're supposed to be hollowed out. So will you make sure we can have everybody watch the difference between hollowed out on a nice front dive straight or back dive straight versus a little bend? Because there's very little difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
But-
Can I address that?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. When the dive is listed as A, it should be straight. That being said, they're trying to avoid any pipes or any tucks. Now, I actually had a case official tell me, well, they went up and they were very arched in the dive. That's fine. All right? I mean, it's still aesthetically pleasing. They're not getting into a different position, okay? So, and that's a great point to be made, because some people, I mean, if you do a back dive straight, and it's incredibly difficult. I don't even teach straight dives anymore, but to stay entirely straight through the entire dive is very, very, very difficult, and only the extremely advanced divers can do that.
All right.
So I remember hearing a judge last year when someone was doing a back somersaults straight, they were straight, but a judge cut the score low because it wasn't arched, it wasn't hollowed out, but that's not the case.
No, it should.
Straight.
No, if they're getting it straight, we should be rewarding that. You're right. You're right.
It doesn't have to be an arch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Kelly, do you down for anything art? When there's an art coming?
I mean, we've had our conversations about that back and forth. I mean, you've probably been involved in some of those. That breaking even this direction, and I get you on that. I think it kind of depends on how it looks. I mean, if it doesn't look clean, we would consider that. I guess it just depends on like I said, it's been an argument back and forth for years. So yeah. All right, let's get some divers going.
Okay, cool. 101C, or dive time. Okay, cool. Now you notice you started with an established position, started with your approach, and then when you came down and hit the board, the chest was forward. Where'd the dive go? Went out. Okay? Anybody want to venture a score on that dive? Just raise your hand if you want to give it a score. What would you give it? 5? Okay. 5.5? Anybody else? 301B. Board was quiet as they should be. She reached up nice and high, established that position on the touch, which was great. Now when she came out, she had one arm a little bit narrower than the other. So A, it twisted, and B, her legs were apart. Okay? But it satisfied the criteria for the dive. All right? So that's probably, 6.5 dive. All right? All right. How about 401B? Here we got that. All right. And we're not at night. Now, ideally, as officials, we want them to go ahead and adjust the board as soon as the other guy quits. All right? That doesn't mean that they have to do that, because the dive doesn't start until now.
saying at least, I'm gonna say at least 2. Right here.
Very good. She's the closest. She's usually your guy. It wasn't your wrong position. That score should not be above a 2 under any circumstance. Okay? Because she performed this correct dive in the wrong position. And the reason she did that is she was leaning back. When you do it inwards and you go this way, it's all over. All right? What's that?
That is a great point, Trish. How many oscillations do we get on back and inward dives? 4.
401B inward dive. So 4, 7, 6, 6.5. All right. I don't know what you got. Did anybody not think that was a good dive?
Should look crow hop.
That was pro up. All right. I didn't see it. All right. But that doesn't mean it wasn't there. All right. So because of that, though, if you give it a 6 on that, that's good. 6.5. All right. So she took that into consideration when she made that. She didn't say 6.5. Oh, now I can take off a half and 2. All right. Because guess what? That was a dive. Yeah, she pro up with the right foot. All right. So that's good.
What do you think of the height though?
Five, she was a little bit back, but understand, we got Luke who gets to see the girls, all right? So if you can still see she went up in the air, well, she was into the bottom a little quick, good eyes. It could have been done higher, all right? But that's why we're at 6.5 off. Okay? We all good on that? All right. 401B, we're dying. Bye.
I'm going 8.
Well, I think clap with the judges, but
It ain't 8.
okay. Beautiful. Beautiful on the I've got a slide in here, just so we know. There wasn't a co-op. Yes, there was.
We can't go back to the video review? I'm sorry.
One more.
He's a good guy. Yeah, there it was. There's a little one. What is that? No. No. He did crow hop.
Wow, no.
I'd give it 8.5, 9, even with the little crow hop, because it's only a half a point crow hop. Yeah.
You guys are seeing this little tiny light. I'm just curious to know what the rules are in high school. Like if you come up just a little, is it automatically to know that?
Automatically half to 2. Half to 2.
Anytime you leave the board and come back in contact with the board, it is in fact pro. I'm going to go with 8.5, 9 on that dive, all right? What else?
And just because I saw you do it, what do you?
What I was trying to establish was this, is I wanted him to get up there and move his arms like this a whole bunch of times.
Oh.
And then do this. That is not over oscillation.
No.
You get 4 rocks with your feet. You can stand up there and wave to, everybody in the stand. But as soon as you do this, then that's an oscillation. And you have to be off the board in no more than 4. Okay? Where we get into problems, you'll get a kid that's up there, you know, they're nervous as hell because they got to do, you know, their coding and real being and say, hey, we're going to have right. And they're like, oh no, I got to do this. And then they go. It's not until you actually rock with the heels that the oscillations are developing. Okay? All right. So, back to 2-2-1-D.
5-2-2. Somersault. I know you're not wrong.
Yeah.
2-1.
All right.
Awards.
Awards? 4. 2. Yeah, a lot of 2.
Was it half twist?
Half twist.
Okay, then I'm good. Then we're good, yeah. All right, I was thinking a full twist, because you said 2.
When you do a dive,
Two flip. Yeah, flip 2-2-1.
all front twisting are even. 1 twist, 2 twists, 3 twists, 4 twists. Let's see, back 1.5. All right. So this is a 52-31 lead. Award.
6.
7. 5. All right. You know, was it a good dive? It was close to being a good dive, and she went over, okay? But it was probably a 6, 6.5. I don't know if I would hammer it as hard on a 5, all right? Because that means it was just above and it's unsatisfactory. Yes.
So that dive there, she was straight, she was in straight, kept her legs straight.
Yeah.
I want to know everyone's thoughts here for high school. If she broke her knees to go in to make the dive, can we cut it down? Or should we say, no, this is a great position? Okay, but you still give it a 6.
It doesn't matter. It's a deep.
So,
Confused on your question.
Yeah, I am too. If she'd have broken her knees, yeah, I'm going to drop it.
And she realized that she wasn't spinning out, or she just couldn't make the dive regularly. Instead of hiking it down, she decided to go like this to get the dive. Okay? It's in the free position. Now, does that make it an aesthetically pleasing?
No.
Probably not. All right? Because while it's an unwritten rule, generally divers come around with their legs straight and hike it down. Front twisters, back twisters, reverse twisters. All right? Does that mean, you know, that if they're doing it on purpose where they tuck it around, that means they're not ready to do the dive. All right? They're cheating on the dive. Okay? So as a coach, for sure, I'd say, why didn't you do that dive? You're not ready. Okay? As an official, you should say, okay, technically she did the dive, but it wasn't as aesthetically pleasing as I was like. So probably a 4.5. Okay? Yeah, this is 233, back 1.5 twist.
Awards.
Award. 6. 5.5.
Looks like a lot of satisfactory scores.
Okay, I get it. All right, yeah.
Again, remember, don't.
The guy who was talking to you earlier about always looking for that imperfection. Technically, yes, there was a grow hop. What did it affect the performance of the dive? Probably not.
No.
All right. I still give that probably 6.5, 7.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good dive. It was a little bit short. All
Which again ties into the point. If all you focused on was the 5th oscillation in the crow hop, you missed everything else that happened in that dive, which was really nice air work. And then, you bog it down, and instead of giving that 6.5, 7, you're throwing out 5.5, 6. So remember, we're not judging collegiate diving, we're judging high school diving, and all the good stuff's in the back. If you need a refresher on, when entry's affected, check the back of the book. All good stuff.
All right. So just, because diving's not only the same dive, boom, 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 all the way through, you can perform 103C. 103C. Never mind.
There's a lot there.
Well,
I just used to hang out on many levels, so it's all good. Go ahead and score that. Go ahead and score that. Scores anybody? A 2. Okay, 2. Anybody else? 2?
Wasn't there about 2?
A 1. Okay. So, Ted, go ahead.
she did. She balked.
Failed dives.
Wait.
No, it wouldn't be a failed dive.
0.
Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
That was not a failed dive as called by the referee.
Yes.
That was a max score of 0. She performed the dive in the wrong position, so that's a max 2, and she had a bomb.
Bill, is that on the test? Is that on the test?
It will be now. No,
All right, so now we're going to
yeah, it
try
was C.
103C.
It's okay. You're being good demonstrations. For
Y'all are great.
talking.
Aurora. 2.
It's a 0. She didn't declare it.
0 dive.
She didn't declare it.
I don't think she did. Yeah, from here to here. Oh, but as you said, she's right. It's a 0 dive. She didn't declare it. All right. So that, but if she had declared it, so, like I said, I didn't vote last year, and I'm not voting this year, but that being said, that's what we got to have this discussion. One is, I probably did a standing dive.
Don't think everybody's clear on that one.
No matter what.
I mean, I'll do it, but you're the rules guy. When they don't declare versus when they do declare a standing start.
I'm not doubting, but that's
Since you're our rules guy. Since you're our rules guy. Yeah. I'm gonna have Bill clarify it because our rules guy's right here. So
rule guy, can step in, afraid.
I think you all got it right. If it's declared, you're going to treat it like a bomb, collect 2 off of them,
Off the
for
score.
whatever score it was. 8 goes to 6.
Okay.
If it's
But that's done at the table.
no, the referee takes it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you scored.
Score it as you saw it. The table will deduct 2 off the scores.
so, if they forget to declare, it's a max 2 score.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That one's so new.
You have to declare if you're doing a standing
Yeah,
dive.
that one is so new.
When you declare that you're doing a standing dive,
If there was something else, then yes.
Yes.
dive, it's still treated like a block for the dive and they got 2 points per judge at the table. We all good with that? All right. One and a half? All right. 52-23 back somersault, 1 and a half twist. Award. 52-23 back somersault, 1 and a half twist. 7 and a half. I'm sorry. Anybody else want to throw it? What's that? 7 and a half? I thought it was a good time.
She was out a little bit. She was out a little bit. Yeah.
As compared to what? All right. The Smoky Hillside. So to make sure that wherever you're at, you bring the Smoky Hillside. But that being said, use the rails as your reference. Use the diving board as a reference, all right? But for a high school young lady, I'd still give that 7, 7.5, all right? Because yes, it could have been higher. It goes back to the whole thing, was there ever a perfect dive? No. But that was done quite well. In fact, she came out squared and dropped it in. She had enough, not only enough presence of mind to show that position, but to also get her hands down so that it was a good dive. So at the very minimum, it was a 6 out of 7 dive, in my opinion.
52-11A.
52-11A.
Did it.
Not bad for the first time doing it.
So let's throw out the score. 2. Anybody else? Maybe 1 or 1.5. Boy, she's hard. All right, anybody else?
Yeah.
0, wow. He never established a starting position. So it's irrelevant how wonderful that guy was. He went out and kept on going.
That's fair, yeah. That's fair.
You have to stop the one from oscillating or moving. You have to establish a starting position. Whether you say, hey, ref, I'm ready to go with a headline or not, you have to establish a starting position. So,
She's over there.
Hey, does that mean an absolute still board?
again, let's not split hairs.
Yeah.
But if he goes out there and the board is still moving, he's not going to try to stop it like that necessarily. But it should be a stop. It should appear that he's trying to get into a starting position.
Kind of like Bill talked about this morning, stationary doesn't mean
Motionless.
motionless.
Yeah. A lot of times when the kids do a back dive or approach, you will see them kind of step on the board a little bit to stop that oscillation. So, but yeah, definitely we want to watch, make sure they're not, continuing to just, or start their oscillation, they didn't stop the board.
All right.
What are we doing?
101A. 101A.
Good.
Yeah.
Or dive straight.
Or not. That was a great pike position.
Julie, what do you give it?
Okay, award from it.
Two.
I can see where you guys got to, okay? Because it was clearly not in the correct position, which is different than a break, which would have been 4.5. All right? I would go with the 2 on that, but ideally she would have been straight the whole time. And the only way that's going to happen is to get your heels in. All right, what dive are you going to do?
I don't know.
How about that?
Do any of them know 201A?
What's that?
Do any of them know 201A? Okay. Are any of them comfortable with just like doing that? To one able just like falling back?
Sure.
Because that's also good to see.
Okay. Yes. Well, what do you want to know? Awards.
We're going back to basics. You're all good. We're going back to basics. You're all good.
Right. Don't
I think, is that, yeah, no jump, just, yep,
Yeah. You just hold her fall back.
yep. No, I kind of heard you.
All right. Now, 201A. 201A. Awards.
No, it was a back dive. It was a back dive. She didn't have to. It's a back dive. I'm gonna do more than two.
She didn't try to do the
You
dive.
said zero diving and this down.
That's why we did it. I would say no more than two.
Again, I mean, more than likely, if you have an individual doing a dive like that, they're not very,
They're not proficient. They're learning.
the mere fact that you landed in the pool, that's pretty good. So, you know, I mean, I have practice all the time, and I said, have practice, oh, wait, great, but you landed in the pool. I give that probably a 3. You made a comment about it, she didn't declare that she was doing it standing. Now, technically, that is true, but I think that means.
No, not for, it's only for forward approaches.
Forward approaches, okay?
But she did establish. Whatever it was.
Started.
She didn't
Yeah, there wasn't really an
have
approach.
to do the dive, she just fell off the board.
Okay, all right.
So there was no approach.
But it was a backup swing, okay? It doesn't say you have to do a full approach, all right? She lands it to the backlash kick. I'd probably give that a very unsatisfactory 3 just because of all those issues, all right? But what I see boiling to the surface again is, hey, I saw this and this and this, all right? Instead of saying, you know what? The poor kid's trying, her brain's out, she fell off the board, did a backlash straight. She's probably not doing back 2.5 on her next time. All right?
And with that too, if you're meet ref, you have the ability, if you felt, in your opinion, from watching that dive, there was no effort made to push off at all and they just fell back into the water, then it's a 0 dive because they just fell into the pool. My perspective, I would have scored it. I saw a little, ever so baby, little push off with the feet. I'd probably score it somewhere too, somewhere in there. I had a point to make. What
I
was
don't
it?
know.
I made it, but then there's more.
All right, we're almost. Good news is,
It was there and then it's gone.
I'm sorry.
I mean, the point was there, but I had more to add.
Oh, it's all right. It'll come to you.
Oh, I remember.
award. Okay. Had all the makings of an incredible ride. 10 miles high, came around, saw the water, said, ha, Jeff, I can do this. Okay. Probably a 6 dive, all right? Because it doesn't matter that, you know, this kid's going to go to his reading at the beginning of the month and dive. That dive is only a 6, all right? So that's a good thing to remember, all right? And yes, the last dive of the competition before we go on to the, whatever it is.
Grand finale.
401C, 401C.
Seriously.
6, 7. Okay. Who thought that was a good dive? What's that? I thought it was very good. It's not, I wouldn't say very good. I thought that was definitely a good dive. So by definition, it's what it says. By definition. Because if I walk up to you, during season, I say, hey, what do you think of that dive? You say, oh, it's a good dive. 5. Then you're going to have to challenge my ropes. Because remember, these kids are busting their butts. That doesn't mean you favor them. You have to be objective in your evaluation, whether it's at the first dive of the entire season or at league championships, and it's like, you know, we only have 3 kids qualified for state, you got to make sure these kids are qualified. Guess what? There's going to be a situation where you're not going to have 50 kids qualified for state. All right. Please give my kids. You guys did great. Thank you for spending some of your Saturday doing it. I'm done. Please, just, and I'm not going to tell you how to judge each dive, but for yourself, you establish the criteria of what is a good dive, what is a very good dive, in relation to how high they go off the board, in relation to how high they are above the rails. And do that every dive, okay? Because you can give a 9.5 on the first dive of the season. Don't, there's this rumor, oh, you can't say, oh, another dive is better. Well, it doesn't matter about another dive. You're judging that dive, okay? Anyway, thank you guys for coming out, and good luck this season.
Thanks, Jeff.
Just one thing I want to add, for all of you veteran diving officials who know what you're doing, if you've got newer people on your crew who feel comfortable and want to get some experience, feel free to say, hey, Courtney, you're going to be dive ref today. I will be your consult if you need me, and get some experience. Pass on what you know to some of our newer officials, right? And when you're in that position, remember, it's okay to give the diver the benefit of the doubt. So if you're not sure if that was a change of position or if it was a minor break, let the officials call it how they see it. You don't have to call it if you're not sure. So just remember, for any of the gray areas in swimming and diving, we are here for the divers, we're here for the swimmers. Make sure they still get that benefit of the doubt before you throw the book at them. Thank you.
Thank you all. I think you got something? All right, so here's Chris.
Just real quick, first of all, Trent and Kelly arranged this afternoon. I think they did a good job. And Smith, we need to come out and do that. So if you guys like this, we would like to maybe do it next year with more prep time and tell your friends that this was fun. I think it's a good experience for coaches, officials, to get a perspective of what everybody thinks. And I think when we get on the deck, we have a better understanding. Thanks again for coming back. This was fun, and I look forward to a great season. Spread the word. We need more officials, so your friends and family out there. With that, we're ready to go.
No, I think we're good.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.